An ancient king had a dream. It was not a ordinary dream. Many of us have dreams while we sleep. Some of us dream these dreams that we say we had because of what we ate before we went to sleep. Anybody up in here, up in here, up in here? And so the king had a specific dream. He had a dream that dealt with the future. What did it deal with? He had a dream that dealt with the future. Now, there's a reason why he had this dream, and this dream was of the future. Number one, God wanted to show Nebuchadnezzar that he was the God of all gods. And in the process of attempting to show Nebuchadnezzar that he was the God of all gods, a controversy pops up. What pops up, everybody? A controversy pops up. And the controversy is over what? Worship and obedience. Now, I hope that you have begun to grasp the theory how Satan traps each and every one of us. I said, I hope you have understood the theory on how Satan traps each and every one of us. He uses our senses, and he also uses our motivations. What does he use, everybody? Our senses as well as our motivations. What does he use, everybody? And our motivation. Now, the king had a dream. And the Bible says that the head of gold represented the first king to rule the world. The name of that kingdom was Babylon. What was the name of that kingdom? The name of that kingdom was Babylon. Now, the reason why the head of gold, out of the entire image, the head is made of gold is because gold is the most precious metal in the world today. Gold is the most what? Precious metal. So then it tells us that the first king to rule the world was basically the greatest kingdom to rule the world, even though it fell. I'm going to say it one more time. It was the greatest kingdom to rule the world, even though it fell. I'm going to say that one more time. It was the greatest kingdom to rule the world, even though it fell. And what you're going to discover tonight, you're going to discover that God rules in the affairs of man, and it is God who sets up kingdoms, and it is God who takes down kingdoms. Now, you will understand also that God said to Nebuchadnezzar, you will not rule the world forever. Satan says, yes, you will. It was also interesting to learn this morning that the dragon gave his power to the beast. The dragon did what? Gave his power to the beast. And the illustration that you saw this morning was there was a couple, right? And a blindfold was put over one of the couple's eyes, right? And the couple, one person turned the person around with the blindfold on and stepped aside, and I asked the person, who touched him? And he said, my wife. But it wasn't his wife. Those of you who witnessed it this morning, it wasn't his wife. It was somebody else. Which means, understand what I'm saying, which means that there are many times that we can be fooled by thinking that we're doing the right thing or worshiping the right person, and in reality, we are not. Okay, so now the first kingdom to rule the world is what? And the head is made of what? The head is made of what? The head is made of what? The name of the kingdom is what? The name of the kingdom is Babylon. But the Bible tells us that even though this head was made of gold, as you can see, something else takes place. It says that its chest and arms of silver, its belly and thighs of bronze. Now the silver represents a kingdom called the Medes and the Persians. What is the name of it? The Medes and the Persians. What is the next precious metal besides gold? Silver is the next precious metal besides gold. Now watch this. King Nebuchadnezzar decided that his kingdom was going to rule the world forever, as you found out this morning. So what he did was he created an image just like this, and it was made of pure gold. It was made of pure gold, but God says his kingdom would not rule forever. Now, history tells us that Babylon had gates, and they also had a man-made river around the gates, which meant that you had to get in the water to get to the walls, to get through the gates. But you will discover in Daniel that something happened. There was a king by the name of Belshazzar. And what Belshazzar did was he took cups from the most holy place that had been stolen or taken when Israel was taken into captivity. He took these cups and he started drinking out of them. That shows you the respect that he did not have for God. And when he did that, there was a hand that started writing on the wall. Meaning, tekel of shekel, meaning thou art weighed in the balances and found wanting. That kingdom is rent from thee. Now, it is also interesting to note, and get this real good, there was a set of soldiers who always had to make sure that a certain area of the gate stayed closed, which they could not get through. But because the soldiers was drunk, guess what happened? The gate stayed open. And the Medes and the Persians became the second kingdom to rule the world. What was the name of that kingdom, everybody? The Medes and the Persians. What did they represent here? They had the metal called what? And they represented the chest and the arms. The next kingdom to rule the world was made of brass. And this kingdom's name was Greece. It was named what, everybody? It was Greece. Now, the youngest person to ever rule the world, his name was Alexander the Great. His name was what? Alexander the Great. Now, the Greeks were able to beat the Medes and the Persians not because they were better soldiers, but because they had better weaponry. They had better what? Weaponry. They had better weaponry. The Greeks came out with a spear called a phalanx. Not only did they come out with a spear called a phalanx, but they were able to develop better steel, which the Persians did not have. They also had longer swords. So when the Babylonians came forth with their shorter swords, the Greeks had longer swords and bigger shields, which meant the little swords couldn't help. The longer swords could just shoot. And that's how the Medes and the Persians lost. Now, the next kingdom to rule the world was made of iron. What was it made of? What was it made of? Iron. And this kingdom ruled the world for 400 years. They ruled the world the longest. Rome was running the show when Christ was born. Rome was running the show when Christ was born. Now, the reason why the Greeks lost to the Romans was because the Romans developed the double-edged sword. The Romans did what? So that the Greeks had to go on one side to cut. They could go forward like this, but they had to go on one side to cut. But the Romans developed iron for their shields, and they developed the double-edged sword. Now, let me share this one with you real quick so that you can understand. The Greeks were the most intelligent people in the world besides Egyptians. But the Greeks were very immoral. They were what, everybody? And the nation that followed them, which was Rome, was doing the same thing. There was beastology. There was male and male, female and female, female and animals, males and animals. Are y'all in here? They did everything under the sun. There's a book named The Rise and Fall of the Roman Empire. In this book, it describes what Rome did. In this book, if you would read this book, you will discover that this same parallels and examples that Rome has, so does America. Who would have thought that in America you couldn't pray at somebody's school? Who would have thought that we would have the type of murdering and the type of homosexuality and lesbianism that we have today inside of America? We've always had it, but it's out in the open now. I'm at the gym and two girls kissing on each other. What's going on? This tells us that we're living in the end of time. Now, what I want to get to now is what I have come to conclusion of why the devil makes me not think the way I need to think. And I'm going to go over this one more time because I think every Christian should understand this. Watch this. There are two types of sins. There's a premeditated sin, and there is something that I do without really thinking, right? Now, when Eve messed up, did she think about it? The answer to that is yes. She thought about it. Why do I know she thought about it? Because the devil says, "Day you eat of this fruit, you shall not surely die. You shall become as gods." Right? If I'm wrong, tell me. Okay, so then the devil can cause me to do an involuntary sin and a planned sin. Someone tell me, what is an involuntary sin? I really didn't mean to do it. You ever got in those kind of situations? I really didn't mean to do it, but I did it anyhow. Then there's these sins that I plan to do. I plan. I really plan to do this thing. Huh? Y'all don't want to act. Y'all want to act funny instead of being truthful. I'm really planning this thing. I'm planning to go out and drink. I'm going to catch up with my buddies, and we're going to so and so and so. That's a planned entity, isn't it? No, my friend don't just catch me like, hey, man, I'm going over here to have a beer. Can you go with me? I'm going to need somebody to drive. That ain't playing. That's not playing. Hey, man, we're going out tonight around 12:30, and we're going to hit the nearest bar where all the action is. And I say, okay. I did what? I planned it. Okay, now, here is the problem that Satan does not want us to do. He does not want us to think critically. He what, everybody? See, critical thinking is a process which causes me to examine all of my facts. The facts that I am assuming or I think are true. Watch this. If I like doing what I'm doing, then I find all reasons why it's okay. And then I find people who, what I call, support me in doing what I do. Come on, talk to me. Isn't that right? I find people who will support me doing what I'm doing. And so I play on these people and I hang on to these people because these people allow me to do what I'm doing. That's called critical process of thinking, of examining what I'm doing. And here's what I do. I'll stop doing this tomorrow. I'm going to start going to the gym tomorrow. And tomorrow never comes. I'll say, I'm going to make a New Year's resolution. Come on, we have all done these particular things. If I'm wrong, tell me. We have all done these particular things. So now we're talking about critical thinking where I'm going to say, I don't think that's what I'm doing is necessarily true. I don't think what I'm doing is necessarily correct. So then, many times, many of them may not be reliable what we're thinking about, or you may be assuming. I assume you're going to forgive me. I assume I'm going to stop drinking. Am I in here? I assume I'm going to do the right thing. But some of my assumptions may not be true. Do you see what the devil does? Some of my assumptions may not be true. I just assume they are true because of the environment that I have been in before. If a man has never seen, who's a boy, has never seen his father treat his wife right, how is the man going to treat his girlfriend or his wife? Come on, talk to me. The same way, and he's going to think it's what? It's okay. It's right. Why? Because he is under the assumption that it's all right because that's all he sees. If a man never gets a job and always gets money from his mother, then what is he going to get? Who does he think he can get money from? Why? That's all he's been doing. And so now you have women who go ahead, I'll give you money. So he assumes that it's all right. And then we get mad because he don't treat me the way I'm supposed to be treated. Well, he treats you based on the assumptions of what he thought was true. It's the same thing with the Sabbath. It's the same thing. I'm assuming that Sunday is right. But Sunday is not right. But I'm assuming Sunday is right. And I'll say this again next week as we go further on. I'm assuming that Sunday is right because Big Mama taught me. Not only did Big Mama teach me, but the pastor told Big Mama. So Big Mama can't be wrong. Because Big Mama is the person who is the focal point of the family. Oh. So then I'm assuming that what I believe is correct, even though I have never found out for myself. The next thing, is your reasoning legitimate or is it flawed in some way? Perhaps you are only basing your reasoning in a certain direction. Women see one thing one way, and we see a thing another way. Am I right? Okay. Now, it's more of you ladies, because it's always more of you ladies. But here, I'm going to tell y'all what I do. Now, I don't know if the brother is going to admit to what I'm about to say, because see, Mrs. Cox ain't up in here, so I can talk. When my wife asks me a question, I attempt to think of the simplest way to give her the answer. Because I'm hoping she won't ask me another question. And while I'm giving her the answer, I'm trying to think of another simple answer. Because I know she's going to ask another question. Am I right, brother? I know. Okay, now, the fact of the matter is, if I see a stop sign, the stop sign says what? It's red, and it has white lettering on it. It sometimes flashes. Now, I don't care what you say, the sign says stop. Sweetheart, you need to stop at that stop sign. That's why you get so many tickets. I did stop. No, you didn't stop. What you did was you slowed down. There's a difference between stopping and slowing down. Y'all not up in here. So it's no need of me saying anything anymore. I just sit there. And if she stops, she stops. If she slows down, she slows down. Why? Because I don't want to get in any trouble. I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that the stop sign says stop. Now, your definition means slow down until you see a police. You understand? So our reasoning has to become legitimate when we think about whatever is taking place in our lives concerning Satan and any other entity. Because if we don't, here's what happens. I get discouraged. I say, God's not answering my prayers. I say, the church isn't doing anything for me. I say, I think my faith is weak. I say, I don't know how I'm going to make it. And that's because the way we reason. Now, what brings on the best kind of reasoning? The best kind of reasoning is understanding my motivations. Understanding what? Understanding my motivation. What is motivation? Say it again. Motivation is encouragement. Motivation is something that I have to have on the inside of me to make me want to do something. Huh? I can't make you do anything. I can suggest, I can attempt to push you, but you have to do it on your own. You have to do it on your own. So if I want to become a skilled computer expert, somebody can show me, but I have to motivate myself to work on it all the time. And so it becomes a habit. Good habit. If I don't get to the gym, I feel miserable. Why is that? Because I'm used to it. I've got to go there. My wife will tell you, if I come home and I am very hungry, I'm an irritable person. I don't want to be bothered. All I want to do is eat. Now, I'm just being honest. Okay, so now motivation makes me want to do the right thing, and it makes me want to study. Because the more I study, the more I grow in faith and in knowledge. So then watch this. When I motivate myself, my skills change. Uh-oh. When I motivate myself, what happens? Those of you who you on your specific job, what happens? You have to continue to what? Study. You have to continue to change with the times. You have to continue to change with maybe different types of ways you do things. You can't just do the same thing over and over and over and over and over again because it doesn't work. Y'all looking at me like I'm crazy. Okay, so in order to become the best in a particular job, you must be motivated to continue to learn, or else you will be terminated. Am I right? Okay, it is the same principle that Satan attempts to use against us if we don't motivate ourselves to understand what he's doing and to get a deeper knowledge of what God would have us to do. Which means, watch this, we'll read this. Understanding your motivations will help you remove that process and will give you skills to discover conclusions that are more likely to be true, as opposed to the ones that you just wish to be true. I wish that I could do this. No such thing as wishing. I'm going to be motivated to do it because it is for the best for me. Hello? It is for the best for me. What is it, everybody? It is the best for me. I'm going to tell y'all this one. Yesterday, we had a funeral, and it was Elder Brown's wife who we was at the funeral, and such and such and such and such. There was a lady who came to the funeral. I'm not going to give you this lady's name, but she was my third grade teacher. She was my third grade teacher. And She told my parents that I would be nothing. That's what she told. She told my parents I would be nothing. Well, I got to admit, I was kind of bad, but she comes up to me. She says, I never got an opportunity to really talk to you because you're always moving so fast. She says, and every time you come to New Orleans, I never see you. She says, you are a great pastor. But it flashed in my mind what she said. Now, suppose what she said was true. But I was motivated to do what? By my who? By my parents. Now, you missed that. God motivates us if we listen to the still small voice to do the right thing and move places. Because when God puts you up, can't nobody put you down. I'm going to say it one more time. When God puts you up, I don't care what they say, can't nobody put you down. So then learn how to motivate yourself. And as you look at the motivation, make sure that you're being motivated in a true spirit. Uh-oh. Satan says, I need to be a God. I need to be worshiped. I need to be obeyed. But God says, try me. Satan says, what I can do is I can change my appearance. I can look like an angel of light. I'm only concerned about your soul. I could care less about anything else. I just want to deceive you. I don't want you to learn how to become motivated. But God says, if you follow me, I will cause you to rise above the high places of the earth. That's what God says. And because God says this, guess what I can do? I can believe him and I can trust him. Because I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that he is the one.